Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, so let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So, first and foremost, yes, there has been a major change in the market. As you guys do see, Bitcoin nearing, $23,000. All day today, we have been seeing a lot of moves within the market. I have been addressing this, basically all week to prepare for, the FOMC meeting. Now, of course, tomorrow we do look forward to the GDP report, which we've gotten a few comments on actually from the Fed and also even from, White House executives, which is pretty interesting to say the least. Now, of course, when we take a look at this current market, there's some great movement. I mean, we have been seeing altcoins, I should say not all altcoins, but a few jumping out massively. As you guys do see, like double-digit figures here. SNX has been one that I have been watching personally, up about 26%, up almost 30% on the 7-day span. Uniswap, another one that I have mentioned, up about 22%. Up 17% on the 7-day span. Then, of course, Avi as well. Like, these are like the DeFi tokens that I have been really kind of addressing a few times. Yeah, even like the graph is up. So, it's been an exciting day to say the least. And, I think that when we really kind of look at this market, we are actually waiting for, a pullback now. And I know that a lot of you are probably going to be like, what do you mean? Like, why should we be expecting a pullback now? It's just because, like, listen, I was looking at the charts all day today. I was discussing it in the Discord. Everything looked extremely sustainable in terms of movements on like the lower time frames, even on like the larger time frames. When we look at like the 1 day or even the 1 week and even the 1 month, things just don't look that great. We're still at major resistance as everybody is flipping bullish. Obviously, yes, if we do break out of like resistance zones, that is going to be significant. And, what I'm really kind of waiting for on Bitcoin is a significant break above like 24K. That is what I'm watching for right now. But with that in mind, let's move on and let's talk about a few things. So like I said, today was the FOMC meeting, or I should say more so yesterday. And we do see here, Fed Chair Jerome Powell says our policy stance will be set at a level ultimately at which we are confident that inflation is going to be moving down 2%. And listen closely to this.
Our policy stance will be set at a level, ultimately, at which we are confident that inflation is going to be moving down to 2%. So it would depend on a lot of things. Of course, as I mentioned, core inflation is a better predictor of inflation going forward. Headline inflation tends to be volatile. So in ordinary times, you look through volatile moves in commodities. The problem with the current situation is that if you have a sustained period of supply shocks, those can actually start to undermine or to work on de-anchoring inflation expectations. The public doesn't distinguish between core and headline inflation in their thinking, so it's something we have to take into consideration in our policymaking, even though our tools don't really work on some aspects of this, which are the supply side issues.
And of course, he is talking about like even, long term here as well, really kind of looking at things in terms of like inflation rates. Yeah, I mean, like to me personally, is the Fed pivoting here? Not necessarily. I mean, like today we've seen 75 BPS. And he was talking more so about like the economic stance that they are basically seeing. We actually do see here just in Fed Chair, Jerome Powell says the economy is still on track to grow this year. I mean, I just don't see it. I mean, personally, I'm sure that a lot of you have your own stance on this. Again, like this is my opinion. You don't need to listen to what I say about this. I'm just not seeing how the economy is still continuing to thrive and even grow. I mean, ask anybody right now, like how much disposable income they have now compared to a year ago. Like things just economically are not working out for, individuals to not only be financially stable, but also to have, more money to actually invest, to buy things, to, actually spend money on things that they want to spend money on. Like a lot of people are actually tightening right now in terms of budgets. So let me know what you guys think about this comment down in the comments below. And also, we did see, Chair Jerome Powell says that he does not think the U.S. is currently in a recession. And I've always said, right, when people are saying like inflation doesn't exist, when inflation, like for an example down here, like inflation is transitory, or hey, we're not in a recession, or they kind of rework like the recession standards. Like just recently we did see the White House economist, I forgot what his name was, but he basically said that two GDP quarters in a row that are negative does not necessarily mean a recession. So they're basically redefining what a recession actually is, basically trying to say like, hey, listen, I know things are bad out there, but they're not this bad. And I think that that is just like the wrong way about going about things. We've seen this in the past. We've seen them try to sugarcoat things and cover things up, even though again, behind the scenes everything is basically on fire, everything is burning down, but they're telling you everything is fine, don't worry about it, it's all going to be fine. We've seen this time and time again. To me personally, I believe that things are a lot worse than what they are letting on. I've said this time and time again, even with inflation rates. I don't believe that the inflation rate is 9.1%. I just think that that is extremely stretched, to the point of like, hey, yeah, this is like the inflation rate, but we know that your groceries are up, 30 plus percent. We know gas and rent is up 50 plus percent. We know utilities are increasing in cost, but yeah, it's still 9.1%. Like, I just don't believe that they're putting themselves in the consumer's, feet. I mean, or shoes, sorry. Maybe, maybe they think that, people are idiotic enough to actually believe this, but I'm just not seeing it. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments below, though. Now, today I did warn about not taking like the price action seriously around the FOMC. Like I told everybody, do not FOMO into the green. In fact, we actually do see here, all foreign capital that entered the markets this morning has now exited. So this is my major warning to all of you. Listen. Although things do look extremely bullish when we see like Bitcoin at like 23K, and we look at altcoins and they're pumping massively, and stocks are doing pretty good, and the dollar itself is sort of weakening as everybody has been calling for. To me, this is a time to take a step back and not listen to all the emotions that are on Twitter. I've said it time and time again. You could basically counter trade Twitter emotions and make it, because that's how simple it is to make it in this game. You don't need, to have, some sort of expert trading, indicators, or, you don't need to be a part of a paid group or anything like that to make it in this market. All you have to do is play against the herd mentality. The herd mentality around crypto is like, once we see like a little bit of green, everybody is bullish. And again, like it's not like always, hey, everyone's bullish, so I'm just going to sell. It's not always like that. But during FOMC meetings, which we've seen in the past as a pattern, we always pump into it, and during, and then right after, like the day after, we see a massive drop in the markets. And like I said, tomorrow we do see the GDP report come out. That is what I'm more so kind of dead set on watching, as I do believe that that is more important than, of course, the FOMC meeting. And we do see over here from Kevin Cage, now this is kind of going into a different subject. Remember that price action does not necessarily indicate that one alt is better than the other, or another, sorry. We are, early. Assets take turns. I keep seeing, holders of rug pull projects bragging about 1,000% move versus other real layer ones. I'd rather hold a legitimate project than lose it all. And I do completely agree with this. Listen, I've talked to you guys about prices for some of these some of these assets. Like, these are not price targets that I would personally be holding long term for. And I've always said this time and time again. Like, for an example, with XRP, could $100 to $1,000 happen? Yes, 100%. And I've made multiple videos on how this could happen. And remember, put quotation marks about how it could happen. Do I think that it is realistic to wait for XRP to hit $100 to $1,000 anytime soon? No, not at all. I've said it, right? But again, a lot of people get a little bit discouraged when I do kind of make those videos where I'm like, this could be a possibility if all of this happens. And everyone's saying, like, let's hit $1 first. Like, when are we going to hit this price? When are we going to hit that price? I want you guys to understand that, first off, XRP is one of the tokens that always runs last. And also, you got to realize that, listen, the SEC themselves has stifled the price action around XRP greatly, whether everyone wants to accept it or not. XRP would have been at least a double-digit XRP, in my opinion, without the SEC. Now, of course, we have to be, a little bit more patient. I understand that watching other tokens do massive percentage runs, go from, $1 to $100 or go from, 10 cents to $10. I get it. It's frustrating. But I want you guys to understand that XRP is probably one of the only, or I shouldn't say only, one of the only projects out there that has proven utility, that is proven to be utilized on a day-to-day basis, and has an incredible community around it. It's tried, tested, and trued. It has been around for an entire decade. So to me, XRP is probably one of the safest altcoins in this market to actually be a part of, even though the SEC is pushing their agenda around it. Now, also, talking about XRP, the funny thing is that we have been seeing a few connections with Swift in the past. So here's Anders talking about Volante Technologies. Volpay offers Ripple as well. Seems like it's possible to combine Swift and Ripple through, Volpay, payment Swift, settlement Ripple Net, question mark. And we actually talked about Volante Technology in the past multiple times. And it's funny because this goes back 9 hours ago. Together with Banco Affirm, we are realizing our shared vision of the world where real-time digital financial services are easily and equitably, available to all. Volante has helped us reduce Swift processing time from hours to seconds. Now remember, hours to seconds. Pretty interesting, right? And we do see over here, Affirm, selected Volante's Volpay over competing solutions because of its modern low-code business service architecture, deep functionality, and ease of integration with new and existing bank systems. And of course, this is based on the ISO 20022 standards. This doesn't really matter all that much. And by offering next-generation cross-border payment types such as SWIFT and GPI, obviously it was a great, choice. And of course, we do see over here the Volpay Ripple processor module speeds integration to the Ripple Global Settlement Network, where of course you do see the efficiencies of like RippleNet. The funny thing about this is when you actually look at the diagram for this, yes, Ripple's at the forefront for settlement and, again, liquidity sourcing. And yes, I do believe that Ripple and Swift are working together. If they are not in this process, I would say that they will most likely be working together at some point in time. Remember, the biggest pushed agenda around the XRP community has always been the fact that like Ripple is trying to replace Swift, XRP is going to absolutely kill Swift, blah blah blah. We've heard it all the time, right? Well, the funny thing is that going back a little bit in time, and shout out to J Jeremiah Crypto. We actually do see down here a link to XRP Owl's video about Swift. This is a little bit this goes back to 2020. We've kind of did a deep dive in on this in the past, but this is talking about Graham Bright, who worked with Swift for 20 years, saying that XRP won't replace Swift, but complementing them. Would XRP be considered a worldwide currency? And listen closely to this. Let me turn this up.
So we did speak earlier where you mentioned that it's not necessarily about replacing Swift, it's about complementing it. So let's get some more information on this.
Okay. I used to work for Swift. I was Swift for 20 years, so Swift is flowing through my veins. Swift is the preeminent messaging system for the financial industry, which covers, say, payments, FX, trade, in terms of securities, etc., Nostra reconciliations, etc. What we're looking with the crypto, though, is where Swift would have a store and forward system for most of its payment transactions, where you need service level agreements that in a certain time I will do something, the payment turns up at a certain time during the day. Here we're looking at the new network styles, which allow instant, real-time movement of the funds and visibility of those funds as well. So we would not have a situation where banks need to come back to you and say, have my funds arrived? It's 3 days later. I need to find out or find query messages moving around the network. There's nothing like that. I don't believe Ripple is going to replace Swift. Ripple is one of the complementary networks, which is going to allow those institutions who need real time to make use of that. And I think we're also seeing that Swift are changing their network capability so that real-time will be a possibility as well. But we may also see Ripple XRP moving across the Swift network as a currency when we're perhaps using something like FX.
And of course, he's talking about like FX settlement, FX, rates, stuff like that. To me, yes, I think that this makes sense. I mean, we've discussed the idea of like, first off, Swift has, came out and officially stated that like, listen, we will be utilizing digital assets at one point in time. I mean, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. To me, when we really kind of look at where we are, economically, I think that these systems are extremely inefficient. Um, we've talked about, even banking settlement. We've talked about cross-border settlement. We've talked about just in general, pre-funded accounts and how inefficient they are in today's society. We need to do better. We need to innovate further. And this is also why I've said, like, cryptocurrencies as an asset class is going to be a future, at least I see 10 trillion to 50 trillion to even $100 trillion in market cap for crypto within at least, a decade. By 2032, things are going to be extremely different for this market. I would say like even by 2025, we see how fast crypto moves. It's almost like, moving a payment, utilizing XRP, right? You see how quick things are actually moving within this market, not only technologically, but also just the growth as well. The adoption cycle for crypto has been something very remarkable to watch. And I still continue to say, like, on a day-to-day basis, like, we are still so early. I know that sometimes it doesn't seem like we are when you do see, like, Super Bowl ads for crypto and you see, all these other individuals jumping into the space. But I want you guys to understand that, like, still, this market is so early when you actually look at, like, the market cap just peaking over $1 trillion. We hit $3 trillion in all-time high. Like, we are still so early. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. If you guys have more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As those up to you, all have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. It's been Nick. Peace out, guys.